Hey, everyone. Welcome back to the channel. It's your hoster here, and boy, do I have a wild HOA story for you today. Picture this. I'm just a regular guy living in a quiet suburban neighborhood, minding my own business, when my local homeowners association decides to pull the ultimate power move. They designate my private land as public property and start building a pool and clubhouse right in my backyard. Yeah, you heard that right. My land, my sanctuary, turned into their personal playground without so much as a "hey, is this cool with you?" So, grab a snack, settle in, and let's dive into this insane tale of trespassing, legal battles, and sweet, sweet justice. It all started back in the mid-'80s when I snagged this beautiful 3-bedroom house on a spacious corner lot. The neighborhood was barely developed back then, just a handful of homes scattered around, no HOA, no fuss. I got the land for a steal and spent years building the house myself, pouring my heart and soul into every brick and beam. It was my little slice of paradise, a laid-back community where folks waved hello but otherwise kept to themselves. I loved it that way. A man's home is his castle, right? No one telling me how to live or what to do with my property. But fast forward a couple of decades, and things started to change. The area grew, new neighbors moved in, and suddenly, a group of busybodies decided we needed an HOA to protect property values and enforce community standards. I wasn't buying it. From day one, I made it crystal clear. I'm not joining your little club. No way was I letting some clipboard-wielding tyrants dictate the height of my grass or the color of my shutters. At first, they tried the nice approach. A couple of HOA board members showed up at my door, all fake smiles and syrupy voices. "Mr. Johnson." One of them cooed. "Let's call her Karen because, well, her name actually was Karen. Don't you want to say and how our neighborhood is run? Don't you care about property values?" I just shook my head. "My property's doing just fine, ma'am," I said. "I've got all the say I need with local elections and basic laws. I don't need your bureaucracy meddling in my life." They didn't like that answer, but I stood firm. Over the next year, they kept knocking, kept pushing, but I kept shutting them down. Eventually, they seemed to back off, or so I thought. Little did I know that was just the calm before the storm. The trouble started small. Passive-aggressive notes started appearing on my door. "Your lawn's a quarter-inch too tall, Mr. Johnson," or "Your Christmas lights don't match the neighborhood aesthetic." I'd roll my eyes and toss them in the trash. Annoying, sure, but I could handle it. Then they got bolder. One summer day, I came home to find Karen and another board member in my backyard, measuring my fence with a tape measure like they own the place. "Excuse me," I said, storming over. "What the hell are you doing on my property?" Karen turned to me with a smug, disdainful look. "We're just ensuring your fence meets HOA guidelines," she sniffed. Section 3, Paragraph 2 states all fences must be under 6 feet. My blood was boiling. "First off," I shot back, "I'm not in your HOA, so your rules don't apply to me. Second, this is my land, and you're trespassing. Get out before I call the cops." She huffed, muttering something about maintaining standards and how my non-compliance was tanking everyone's property values. I wasn't having it. "My property values are fine," I growled. "Now get off my lawn before I show you how we handled trespassers in my Marine days." That shut her up real quick, and they scurried off. But I knew this wasn't the end. Over the next few years, the harassment ramped up. They'd call the city with fake code violations, trying to get my house flagged. They attempted to tow my project car from my own driveway, calling it an eyesore. One time, I even caught them sneaking around with a can of paint, trying to fix my mailbox while I was at work. Each time, I fought back, calling the police, filing complaints, sending cease and desist letters. It was exhausting, but I wasn't about to let these petty dictators win. I figured I could outlast them. Then, last year, everything hit the fan. I took a 6-month contract job overseas, good money, but it meant leaving my house in the hands of a trusted friend, Tom, who'd check in regularly. For months in, I got a call that turned my world upside down. "Dave," Tom said, his voice shaky, "you're not gonna believe this. There's construction going on in your backyard." My stomach dropped. "What do you mean, construction?" "I mean bulldozers, concrete mixers, a whole crew," he said. They're building something, a pool, I think, on your property. I was speechless, my mind racing. Did you talk to them? I finally asked. Yeah, Tom said, but they just said they had permits and to take it up with the HOA. Dave, I think they're stealing your land. Rage doesn't even begin to describe what I felt. Tom, I said, forcing my voice to stay calm, call the police. Report it as trespassing and vandalism. Take photos, videos, everything, permits, workers, the works.
Can you do that?
Absolutely, he said. What about you? I took a deep breath. I'm booking the next flight home. This ends now. The next 24 hours were a blur, frantic travel plans, sleepless flights, and a simmering fury that kept me going. When I finally pulled into my driveway, I couldn't believe my eyes. My beautiful lawn was a war zone, torn up, littered with construction gear, and dominated by the skeleton of a half-built pool house. I marched up to the first hard hat I saw. Who's in charge here? I demanded. The worker pointed to a white truck. Mr. Stevens, the foreman. I stormed over and banged on the window. A guy with a bushy mustache rolled it down. Can I help you? He asked, looking annoyed. Yeah, I snapped. You can explain why you're building on my property. Stevens blinked, confused. Your property? No, dude, this is HOA common land. We've got permits for the new community pool. I felt my face flush with anger. I don't know what the HOA told you, but this is my private land. I've owned it for over 30 years. Stop work now and get off my property. He shrugged, clearly unimpressed. Look, buddy, I've got signed contracts. Take it up with the HOA. I'm just doing my job. I realized arguing with him was pointless. Fine, I said, but you'll hear from my lawyer soon. Wrap this up quick. I whipped out my phone as I headed to my car. It was time to fight fire with fire. The next few weeks were a whirlwind of legal chaos. I hired the toughest property lawyer I could find, a real bulldog who lived for cases like this. We filed an emergency injunction to halt construction and started building a massive lawsuit against the HOA. Trespassing, property damage, fraud, you name it. The HOA tried to argue my land was common property they'd legally acquired years ago, but their evidence was laughable. Forged documents, backdated contracts. It was a sloppy, desperate scam. They'd clearly planned this while I was overseas, thinking they could bulldoze me out of the picture. But thanks to Tom's quick thinking, we had a mountain of proof. Photos, videos, even audio of Karen bragging about taking care of that troublemaker Johnson once and for all. The judge wasn't just unimpressed, he was furious. As the case unfolded, we uncovered more dirt. The HOA had been slandering me for years, telling neighbors I was a drug dealer or a sex offender. They'd tried to get my house condemned with fake complaints. It was a full-on vendetta. In the end, the ruling was a total knockout. The judge sided with me on every count, but he didn't stop there. He ordered the HOA to pay for all damages, remove their half-built monstrosity, and hit them with massive punitive fines for fraud and harassment. And the cherry on top? He dissolved the HOA entirely, declaring they'd abused their power beyond redemption. As we left the courthouse, my lawyer grinned. In all my years, I've never seen an HOA get spanked this hard. You just made history, my friend. I couldn't help but smile. They messed with the wrong Marine, I said. The aftermath was glorious. Karen and her cronies faced felony charges, fraud, forgery, the works. Last I heard, she's looking at serious prison time. My property? Fully restored, courtesy of the HOA's wallet. I even used some of the settlement cash to build my own pool, perfectly positioned so those former HOA busybodies can see me lounging from their windows. Take that, Karen. But the best part? The neighborhood's reaction. Turns out, I wasn't the only one suffering under the HOA's reign of terror. People started coming by, shaking my hand, thanking me for standing up to the bullies. One sweet older lady, Ruth, even baked me a cake. Mr. Johnson, she said, tears in her eyes, they fined me thousands over the years for my flower beds, my bird feeders. I thought I'd lose my home. You're a hero. I just shook my head. No hero here, ma'am. I just believe in fighting for what's mine. Nobody should control your property but you. Now, the neighborhood's peaceful again, like it was when I first moved in. We look out for each other, but there's no heavy-handed rules or ridiculous fines.
Me?
I'm enjoying retirement, tinkering with my car, tending my garden, and yeah, chilling by my pool. If I catch a former HOA member glaring at me, I just wave and smile. I fought for this country to protect our freedoms, and sometimes that fight starts right in your own backyard. So there you have it, folks, another wild HOA tale in the books. If you enjoyed this one, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell so you don't miss my daily uploads. Up next, we've got HOA security gone wrong. Trust me, you won't want to miss it. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you tomorrow.